welcome to Life Chats with Maggie and Bunny. I'm Maggie.
And I'm Bunny.
Well, welcome, welcome, welcome. Well, it seems like it's been forever since we have done this recording, and
Yeah.
it has, because this is the first one. It's April, and this is the first one of the new year,
Mm-hmm.
mostly because of circumstances. Bunny was sick, then I was sick, then traveling.
Yeah.
And so here we are. It's April and we're back at it.
Yeah.
So, our guest today, we are very fortunate to have Nathalie Lavoie with us. And I know I'm not pronouncing your last name correctly because I can't even try to do it in French. But Nathalie is our guest today. And I'm just getting my words up here. She is a singer, a healer, and a light worker, and many more things that we're going to let her tell you about. She has a soul channel called The Great Creator, which is soul to soul conversations. So, welcome, Nathalie, and thank you for being our guest here today. And we're going to open it up for you to tell us more about what it is that you do and what you want to talk about. Welcome.
Thank you. Well, first of all, hi everybody. Hi world, And hi, thank you, Bunny and Maggie, for having me. I'm
Thank you.
really happy to be with you today, girls. And
Thank you.
yes, it's an honor for me. And as we said just before, it's just funny how I was at the last book that you you edited, and I'm the first guest for this conversation, So
Wow.
it's just funny, the ninth and the first, so the ending and the beginning. So I love to talk about those subjects, and
Yeah.
how I approach life. It's like in my channel, if you go in my channel and you watch the videos and what I'm saying, it's always going to at the same point, kind of, because I believe in that so much, that we all are great creators. So we all create our lives, okay? So it doesn't mean that we are artists, or it's not like that, Oh, if you're not an artist, you're not a great creator, you're not you see, it's not like that. It's because what I understand of life, it's everything you do, everything you think, and everything you love will show up in your life. And sometimes everything you hate will show up in your life. And it will help you to be stronger. Okay. So when you focus on something, you are such a great creator that it will manifest. And that's why sometimes people don't are like, oh no, why is it happening to me again? And they get frustrated, or or sad, but they are staying in that loop, and again and again and again, and until the lesson, like, unfortunately, until the lesson will not be learned, it will continue happening. And the good part is, when you learn the lesson, right? When you're conscious about all of this, you can start creating your world and your life and everything around you. And so that's what it's about. And my channel, I've started the channel because I'm French. As you see, I have an accent. La la la, je suis francophone.
Yeah.
And yes, the channel is called Les Grands Créateurs, so means great creators, on YouTube. But it's Nathalie Lavoie GC. If you want to go on the channel, it's very easy. Nathalie Lavoie GC. So it's very, very, very easy. And there I have different videos on different topics that I like to talk about. Rather, it's something I have in my mind, and I want to talk about, or I've started the tarot journey. I love to pull some cards sometimes, and I started to have some customers. Like, it's very, like, it's starting, okay?
Yes.
I made some videos here and there about the subject, and also I interview people, and I have other interviews that will come soon
Mhm.
because I love for the people when they can talk about the subject that they like, but it's always a little bit in the woo, like I say, rock and woo.
Yeah.
The rock chick that loves everything that it's invisible, you know. So
Yeah.
rock, it's the grounding.
Yeah.
The woo, it's everything that is spiritual, or okay. So you have the balance there. So
Mhm.
I love to interview people on my channel, and they talk about what they think about the material and the spiritual, okay, for the balance. So that's what I like to talk about, like all different subjects. And I go in nature and I record and I put my voice on it. I receive message from trees. I mean, I can talk
Yeah.
and never end talking. So I
Now
will
you
stop
did mention,
I will stop. Ask me some questions
yeah.
because
Well, the biggest thing that I want to ask you right now, just for clarification, because I mean, I didn't check out your channel yet, is that you said that you are francophone. So is it bilingual? Is it just French? Is it French and English? Like, what do you do with your channel?
yes. So I've started in French like 9 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So my first video had 1,600 views,
Mm.
like right away. What 1,500 views, like when YouTube was not that
Yeah.
compartmentalized, you know. So, and it was about automatic writing,
Mm. Cool.
a little,
Mm.
it's a little technique, not very advanced, but so for the people to understand how to do it a little bit, you know,
Mm-hmm.
it's not from A to Z, but it's just easy. Okay. So I've started in French, and I had this concept, les grands créateurs, the great creators too,
Mm-hmm.
in mind. And it grew over the years. I was making a lot of videos in French because I connect to my soul, to my higher soul, and different spirits. Maybe it could be Gaia sometimes. It could be like different spirit. I don't really like to put some names because
Yeah.
I feel like the universe is so vast that we tap in this field, and it's okay for me not to put the names and
Mm-hmm.
to ask for names, okay?
Yeah.
So yeah, so I received the message, and for many, many, many years, I was just writing them. And I've started to use this channel to read my message, especially the ones that I was receiving when I was connected to trees and
Mm-hmm.
stuff. And then over the years, like I can say maybe 5 years ago or so, um, I started to have like interviews, and
Mm.
those interviews were in English, and I
Okay.
liked it, and I decided to do both. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so now you can find some reading tarot readings in French, tarot readings in English, and I also did bilingual
Mm-hmm.
videos. So I was pulling some oracles, and I was each cards or each what I was expressing, I was saying it in French and in English. So I try to have fun, and I'm putting more and more content in English because I
Mm-hmm.
find that this is important, and I want to. And one of the reasons why it's because I wanted to put myself like comment on dit ça, getting out of my
Yeah.
comfort
Mhm.
zone or something. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
So I wanted to, okay, let's go, Nat. You speak in English all the time. You have English friends. You know your boy, my child is bilingual, and so why not? So that's
Mhm.
Mhm.
so more and more now you will find English content on my
Yeah.
channel.
But you're still allowed. to be what is most comfortable to you. And for those of us who maybe only speak one language, it's different than for somebody who speaks two languages or
Yeah.
three languages or four languages. We all have our comfort zone of what we feel best with. So sometimes, like, for somebody like you who speaks more than one language and where English isn't necessarily your primary language, it is hugely outside of your comfort zone to start doing things in that language. And yeah, it's hugely outside of your comfort zone. And I applaud you for doing that, because it does expand your reach to those people. Because I was going to ask Bunny, does YouTube have a translate button that you can hear something in French and have it translated to English?
I'm not
Because
sure. Yeah, the subtitles might
mhm,
yeah, because I haven't used that myself, but Natalie's nodding. I do believe that you can change the subtitles to generate into a different language. So um, but yeah, like definitely I also felt the pull to say to Natalie, like, yes, do the things in French too. Like obviously we speak in English, so it's gonna be beneficial for us to for you to do it translating. And I also have this feeling too that even if I was to watch a video of yours that was solely in French from when you first started, that while I might not understand what you're saying, there is an energetic understanding of what people are saying. I've watched other things that were in other languages. Mateus de Stefano is one of the people that I think about. And he speaks a lot of his videos are in Spanish. And I never took Spanish. I am Canadian, so I did take French in school. I actually was in French immersion, but I haven't used it in so long that I don't remember a lot of it. Um, but yeah, like so I will hear somebody else in another and energetic, even doing light codes, right? So people who do light codes or light language, which are not meant to be understood by our
right.
our human selves, but it is energetically kind of understood. So I think that is also helpful. I do want to ask though, Natalie, um, what made you get into the woo woo? Were you always like when you were a kid, were you always connected, or was it something that like you had like what they call like a spiritual awakening or something like that? Like where did this come from for you to start making this channel? Like you said, 9 years ago, I mean, not a lot of people were putting woo woo stuff on YouTube 9 years ago. So you were, yeah, and in French on top of it too. So you were one of the pioneers of that. And so what made you start, like, or that kind of thing?
Oh no, it just happened yesterday, and
Yeah.
the video when I was talking about automatic writings, it was just for fun.
Yeah.
No, I was, I mean, when you hear all of the interviews of the people who are in that field, you see, it's something that we all had in us since we are young. I like most of the people. Sometimes something very, very dramatic happened to a person, and then they have their awakening,
Mhm.
you know. So it's always kind of this story. Mine is the one that when I was young, I felt different from other children.
Mhm.
Although I had some friends, I mean, I was not the odd one in the corner crying or bullied or something. I was more like if you were bullied, I could jump and help you, you know.
Mhm.
I was more like a justice person, like, you know, injustice. And if something happens that it's not right, not in the good balance, I will put my intention and my words. And even in my family, I was not a troublemaker, okay?
Mhm.
I was always doing this as peace, but I could put my voice there, and I was like very, you know, if it's not right, it's not right, and I would tell. And I remember the most the furthest experience I had. It's when I was young. I was having those dreams. It wasn't very fun, okay, but
Mhm.
I'm talking as an adult now, when I because I've understood what the process or the experience was at that time. But when I was young, I didn't understand at all. I was having those recurrent dreams, okay, that I felt very uncomfortable, and I was waking up in the middle of this dream, and the dream was still there. So I was awake. I was seeing all around me the room that I was in, but I was still experimenting the dream. I was kind of in two different dimensions at the same time. Okay. So when you're a kid, a little kid, and you have this kind of experience, you don't know what's happening, because you know
Mm-hmm.
when you are grounded in the material, and your mommy and your daddy and your brother, and you know that's what it's real. Okay.
Yeah.
But for me, when I had those, I was crying, and I was it and then further on, I remembered what was happening, and it was going, the more I was growing, the less I was having those dreams.
Mhm.
But the last time I had it, I was 18, 18 years old. So that's why now I can put words and understand what it was. So from the perspective of a little child, it was like a nightmare.
Yeah.
Okay, nobody was there, nothing, but it was that unstable place that I was very frightened. And from the 18 years old young adult perspective, it's like um, that I was feeling the expansion of the universe
Mhm.
as I am alive in this now, in my body right now. Okay. So I start, and it's a feeling. I was starting to, I think it started just when I was going to bed, you know.
Mhm.
I was just falling asleep, and then I felt it. But this time I was like, okay, no, stay there. And I opened my eyes and I kind of observed it, although it was not really funny, because it's not a feeling that you love, because it's just a bit overwhelming. So it's like, yeah, imagine you are it's kind of, you are the universe too. Okay, it's kind of, I'm the universe, and I feel myself expanding, and this universe is expanding. So that's why when I was young, I was like, it's big, it's going big, it's going big. No, but it's going big, it's growing. And it was growing, like kind of, it was a feeling of this expansion, never ending, never ending. So
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't grasp anything. I couldn't, you know, but I felt that was the feeling I got, that this expansion of the universe. And I remember calling my dad, that, Daddy, I'm having the dream right now.
Mhm.
And I was talking to my dad, and he was like, okay, you know what to do, blah, 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 you know?
Yeah.
So that was the kind of experience that I remember, and also going in dreams and remembering that when I fell down in my body, when I come
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
Since I'm very young, I have those kind of,
Mm-hmm.
so I have a lot, but since I'm young, I know that I had this, but
You had it even though you didn't understand it.
exactly. So
Yes.
that's the furthest experience I remember of me,
Mm-hmm.
like kind of knowing that there's different dimension in this material world we are in.
Wow. Wow. That's pretty incredible. Yeah, that's incredible. Because I personally, and this is just my personal belief, I personally believe that we are all born with woo.
Yeah.
Every single person who comes into this world is born with woo, is born with the universe inside of them, and that they are it. And you can feel those things. So it's interesting to hear you explain it that way, because I believe that is possible, where if we can start to change things, kind of like you say, as the great creators, if we can start telling young children who experience symptoms, if you want to call it that, symptoms of the woo, that it's okay. It's not something you need to be afraid of. Have conversations about it. And if you, as a young child, before you were 18 years old, if you, as a young child, could have said verbally, this is what I'm experiencing, somebody could understand and say, yes, that's okay, instead of people thinking you're crazy. If it was talked about, it would change the way that people experience it. Because, like I said, I personally believe that every child born into this world is born with woo. It's not something that is openly discussed or openly acceptable in this day and age, although it is becoming more and more. I know with my own grandson, I have conversations with him about the woo, and with my daughter about things that he says, like when they moved to a new house, he was sure, and he was saying to her all the time, there's ghosts here, there's ghosts here. And she would say, there's no ghost here. And I said, maybe there are. I said, maybe he is seeing spirits that you don't see. Because I do believe that young children can see energies that maybe as adults we don't see because we've been told we can't. Nobody tells young children and animals that they can't communicate with spirits, or that they can't see the universe expanding as a whole, or they can't have those things. So they do. And I think it's awesome that at 18 years old, you were able to express that to your father and have those conversations and allow it to now be your normal.
Yeah, 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 Maggie. Thank you for saying what people are not saying about that too, right?
Yeah. And I think that it's part of our responsibility as human beings to have these conversations so that people feel free to say things that they're experiencing as well. Because when you talk about being outside of your body and dreaming, I experienced the same thing. I time travel. The first time it happened to me, I seen myself laying in my bed. I was terrified the first time it happened because I thought, oh, I must be dead. And because television tells you if that happens to you, you must be dead. So I only had that to go by. And the first time it happened, I believe now that it was a spirit guide that was with me teaching me something. And that spirit guide said to me, no, 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 you're fine. Look, you're right there. You're right there in your bed. You're safe.
Wow.
And having that conversation, and now learning that when it happens now, if I do feel fear, I am very quick to see myself lying in my bed. And I will tell myself, you're right there in your bed. You're safe. We're just going on a little journey. And that happens. So to me now, that's normal. So when you say about these outside of your body and seeing yourself in that, hey, that's part of my normal. And I think the more we have these conversations, we let people know that it's okay for that to happen to you. It doesn't mean you're insane. It doesn't mean you're bipolar. It doesn't mean all these names that society has put on it. It can just be that you see more than one dimension at a time.
Exactly.
And that's a perfect way to explain it, as you did, that you're seeing more than one dimension. And I know Bunny believes in more than one dimension being here at the same time. Yeah, for sure. What do you think about that, Bunny?
Well, I mean, of course, you say it. It's not just one dimension. It's like multiple parallel realities, timelines. Like
Yeah.
we can get into all of that stuff, but it was just exciting. I did want to know though from Nathalie, how did your parents react to that when you started saying, because you said you were young, maybe you might not even remember the first few times or whatever that you had brought it up, but like Maggie said, conditioning, societal conditioning and programming um has, in my own family, if you were to say something that that you saw something, or that, you know, that you were experiencing something that wasn't considered like reality, they would say things to you, either that, oh, that's just your imagination, or you know, there's nothing there, like Maggie said, you know, there's no such thing as go, you know, any of those kind of things. So how did your parents react?
Well, yes, of course. It must be the first reaction, although, because I just, before I answer your question, Bunny,
Yeah.
I just want to say to all of the parents that have reacted like this,
Yeah.
it's kind of okay too,
Yeah.
because they, it's kind of a way to keep their children safe, or to
Yeah.
keep the in a safe place, or because they care for them, and they just don't want them to it's not because sometimes they don't believe in
Yeah.
them, it's just maybe they didn't have um they didn't know about it, so
Right.
they
Yeah.
didn't want
And
to go
parents don't
there.
want their children to be different.
Yeah.
Exactly, so it's, I mean, well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
well, and now my parents, okay, when I was very young, my mom left, okay, and at that time it was odd, okay, because my brother and I was raised by my father, okay, and be a weird thing that in my family, on the side of my father, two of my uncles had the same experience. So it's kind of an not ancestry, but
Like a
I think it's a
generational
clearance or
ancestry.
something in
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
family that the the man have help the children that the mother have abandoned.
Mhm.
Like, because sometimes in our culture, in our times, it's more like the mother takes care of the children when they have a divorce or a separation than
Hmm.
the mother. But in my family, it was the contrary. So it's another subject. But my father, um, yes, 6 months after my mom left, met a woman, and she became my mom, kind of, over the time. I called her mom, and she's still there, and she's my stepmom, but I don't call her a stepmom, I call her mom, and it's
Hmm.
from my heart. Although my real mother, my biological mother, was in my life all the time. I mean, we were seeing her like every month. We were seeing her when I was a child, and I always saw her, and she was not in the everyday life. Okay, so my father took care of us, and 6 months after, this wonderful woman came in our life, and I remember when she had me in her arms, when I was having those dreams. And I remember I was like so afraid, and she was not telling me anything but giving me love. Okay. So she was just taking care of me, and just like, you know, uh taking, because I was 5 years old, 5, 6 years old. I was very young, and she was just like going in the rocking chair in the middle of the night, and then just like, rocking with me and just giving me some love, and then go back to sleep. So we were not talking, but she was there with me, and she was just like giving me the love, okay, and the security. Okay.
Hmm.
And my father had those experience. Okay. So my father told me that, I remember, not when I was 5 years old, but a bit further, maybe when I was, I don't know, 12 or something. Okay, 12 years old, maybe, because I had a dream like this, and I was like just walking around the table and touching the table while I was having this experience at the same time, just to ground myself and to say, like, you are in this world, not elsewhere. Okay, you're alive, that was, and my father after that told me, Nat, I had this when I was young. And he said to me that he understood what I was living and experimenting. And but he called the phenomenon in French le pesant. So it means the lourd, when it's heaviness, the heaviness dream, because also another feeling that you have is you kind of feel, because everything is expanding and expanding, but you feel heavy. It feels, and it's overwhelming. So it's, so you can't grasp, you can't understand. It's too heavy, it's too much information, it's too much, So they were calling it, and he said it goes in my family. Okay. So I don't know if my grandmother or my grandfather or other people, I didn't ask him, but although he didn't really know what it was, he was just loving and accepting and just telling me his experience, and it helped because I was not feeling like I was an outcast or crazy or anything. So.
Wow. And that brings to mind, to me, as you were speaking of that, what it brings to mind is the Maya Angelou quote that says, do the best you can until you know better. And when you know better, you do better. And that's where, as you said, for parents out there, for people out there who don't understand this phenomenon that could be happening or whatever could be happening, we only have the ability to do what we know to do. And as that expands, it creates something different. And now, because at the age that you are now and at the spiritual understanding of where you are now, you have the ability to influence people and to talk about this. And is probably why it came up today that you're talking about it, is to give other people an understanding of this, so that when it happens to somebody in their family, they are more compassionate about it. They are more understanding of it. They're less judging of it. Because, as you say, with the great creators, we are only able to expand to the degree of which we can. And so that whole expansion, if somebody wasn't there, and if somebody isn't at that area of expansion, they're just not there yet. So they might not understand it. But now you do. So as Maya Angelou says, do the best you can until you know better. And when you know better, you do better. Because back in that day, when people experienced that, they didn't know about it. They didn't know what to do. So they did the best they could then. And even when you talk about your mother leaving, that's a traumatic event. And that requires understanding and grace, because many times we don't understand why somebody leaves. We just judge the fact that somebody left their home, but they have their own reasons. They have their own place. We don't understand everything, but it gives you a deeper understanding of why these things happen and all these things in your life. And it's brought you to where you are now, that you're able to have a deeper understanding with people. And so I would invite our listeners, if anybody is experiencing any of these things that Nathalie has talked about today, to reach out to her, because she does have a different understanding. She has a different kind of compassion, and she can hear and listen. And that's what life is all about. That's what we do in this world is all about. I don't have the experience that you have. I don't have Bunny's experience, but each one of us has our own personal experience. And that's how we help each other. That's how we guide each other, by being that soul to soul connection and believing that just like the three of us are in a conversation right now today, at this moment, for this time, when somebody hears it, it's the same type of thing. It's at this moment, for this time. And how amazing that is. It is, because as we've said many times, we don't pre-arrange what we're going to talk about. And we didn't know this was how this conversation was going to go. But I fully believe it was meant to be.
Yes. And
So
wow.
tell us a little bit more about what it is you're passionate about besides the rock and woo.
Rock and woo. Yes. I was there's always, because we're living in this world that we call it duality, right? Because there's a lot of differences, and sometimes people calling it bad and good, right? And other people, like the people who have draw the yin and yang, they just draw some logo and understand it that way too. And we can also understand it like the material world and the spiritual true world. Okay.
Yeah.
So yes. So when I was young, I was not really understanding everything about the two worlds, but I was more kind of someone, like I said, that always wanted to have this. I had this kind of justice, like I said, inside of me. When I was seeing someone that was bullied or something, I wanted to help. But I don't like to say it, but I want to say it today because I think it's very important. And as you said, beautiful, you said, Maggie, like this conversation is happening, and what is coming, it's coming. And I want to share this with you, Bunny and Maggie, and all the worlds and people, and especially teenagers too, that when you're experimenting something in life, like I said, it's sometimes you have to learn a lesson, okay? And sometimes to learn a lesson, you have to be the baddie, okay? But you don't know why. So although I'm a person that I want peace and I want justice and everything, when I was at high school, I've experienced bullying from another girl, okay, an older girl, and somebody went to rescue me. But after that, something happened in me. I wanted to be the bully because it's like, since I'm young, I'm acting this way, and I want justice for everybody, and I want to help everybody, and I know what is right and what is wrong, and black and white, and but now I want to be I want to have I want to drink that potion, I want to be on that side a little bit. So I did bully a girl at my high school. It was not like a big thing. Like I didn't like beat her, but I was telling her some words to feeling her low and stuff like that. Okay, I'm not proud of that. I'm not proud at all about that. But I want to explain that sometimes, like I said, in this life, we have lessons that we have to learn. So at that time, I needed to know what is to be like this in this role. although I didn't know why I was doing it, but I had to do it. So I did it. And then the year after I did it, I just went inside and I was like just understanding everything that was happening. And I just said, I'm sorry to the girl. I went to see her and I was like, I know, I mean, it, even though I'm saying I'm sorry to you and I really feel it, you don't have to say you're okay with that. You don't have to, I'm not asking you like to be okay with that. But I just want you to know that I'm really deeply sorry of what I did to you. And that's what I have in my heart, you know. So yes, I think that those children, those young adult, like it's not, they're not adult, they're not children, those teenagers, okay. Sometimes I just want to tell to the teenagers or to the parents of the teenagers that if your teenager does something in his life, don't be so judgeful to them. And if you are doing bad stuff, kind of, okay, don't be so judgmental of yourself, because although it's not a good thing you did maybe at that time, okay, just remember that you can always learn and be better after, okay?
Yeah.
So this has not tainted all of my life, you know, and I mean, oh my God, I did such a bad thing. And it was not like very heavy or anything. It was just like words I said to a girl and specifically, and I was not very good. I didn't go to the extent like to beat her and stuff, like it was not like that, okay? But
Mhm.
for this little small period of time, I needed to learn something, okay? And I did this, and then I went inside and I reflect on it, and then I said, so I think this is consciousness, so and intention. So always, if you can see what you're doing or what you have done and what you want to do further, never judge yourself like I was this and I'm still this, you know? Never judge yourself, because I mean, judgment is good because you have always a judgment like, oh, I won't if I see a puddle, I won't jump in it because if I'm well dressed today, I mean, I have judgment, you know, this is okay. But I mean, don't condemn yourself in being someone when it was just an experience that you had to do. And we are
Mhm.
changing every second of the day. So you're someone new every second of the day. So you can change like this if you want.
Mhm.
But don't let this ego is okay, but sometimes the ego just wants you to stay in the ego,
Yeah.
right? And it says like, oh no, you did that, you're bad, you're bad, you're bad. So yeah, I don't know why I was talking about that, but it just popped in when you asked me the question. And I think it's very important for the teenagers and the parents. And we're talking about parents too. So I think it's a little bit of
Yeah, no,
a,
I think it was right on topic, and it sounds like you were like, as a teenager you had an experience of sampling something other than what you were, and so you sampled it for a little time. Another thing that I kind of felt, because of course being psychic, medium, intuitive, on all that stuff,
you have to talk
was
about your experience. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but Bonnie, you didn't talk about that, but I want to know about you after.
oh well, we'll talk. But so what it is though is that it feels like you learned to have more compassion for when people make mistakes or when they do things, and I have always had that, I always kind of redemption is what I used to say, is that anybody could be redeemed. That I would tell my kids, even somebody on death row who is in prison, who is never going to come out of prison, because we needed to do that to protect society, right? Like, so because of their behavior, but they can still have a spiritual experience. They can still have this where they're still doing good, where they're, quote unquote, like, we talk
Yeah.
about it again, it's the labels. And so that no matter what you do, there is, like you said, you can change like in a second. And Maggie and I have talked about this before, whenever people will be like, oh, oh, well, I'll start again tomorrow. And I'm like, why tomorrow? Like, you have 24 hours in a day, right? Right. Which, so you can start right now. Like,
Yeah.
you don't have to wait till Monday. You don't have to wait, whatever the thing, you don't have to wait. You can start right away if you choose. And also, like you said, don't condemn yourself. Don't,
Yeah.
don't do that stuff, because that is more of a detriment. Now with the ego, what, like you talk about, the ego is, its job is to keep you safe and
Yeah.
alive. That is the body alive. And so very often it will kind of keep you in what you know, because it's kept you safe in that knowing. And so making changes can be scary as all for the ego, because the ego's like, wait a second, we have no data, we have no way to know how this change is going to affect our future.
Right.
Like, there's no
Right.
there's no history, there's nothing there for me to say, okay,
Be
yes, we're going to be safe.
careful.
Yeah, so it will very often try to keep you into whatever it is that you're doing. And it sounds like, even with what your discussion and with your topic today, which was so great to tell the story about the time when you experienced you as a bully, and that just kind of shows that, like you said, you learned that lesson um a long time ago, and you said, you know what, I chose that, I did that for a little while, and I didn't really like the way that I felt, I didn't really like that experience, so I'm going to choose something different. And that's what free
Yeah.
will is all about, is being like, I had that, not condemning even the bully in you, but saying, I had that experience and I didn't really like it. Like, I prefer this. And
Yeah.
that's in the grand creators, in the co-creation of the universe. I mean, I personally am also going to dive in more with your dimensional stuff. That will be off topic and probably I don't know if Maggie's going to want to join or not, but we're going to have more discussions of that. We might even have to bring you back even to talk
Right.
about this, and to see, because I know we're getting a little bit of time here, but
Yeah.
yeah.
But I do think, and I want to point out too, what came to me when you were telling that story, and you said nothing really bad happened and I didn't go so far. I also want to reach out to the people, but what about those people who did? What about those people who, and I'm going to say it here live on YouTube and Spotify and out in the world, what about those people who did bully and go so far that somebody died? Is there restoration and redemption there too? And my answer to that is yes.
Yes.
Yes. Somebody needs to hear that today. That
Yes.
whoever you were at a chosen time in your life, even if you chose that time, even if you chose to be a bully, because that's very important in this day and age and the climate of where we're living, even if somebody chooses that, there is opportunity for change. Just because you were that person one time doesn't mean anybody has to stay that person. And that you can always change your life. And it's very difficult oftentimes for people to see that in their own brain, because they say, well, I did this, so that's who I am. I did
Yeah.
this, that's who I am.
The
You know,
label.
they label themselves even. And I'm here to say that in the world and the universe that I live in, you can always change who you are. I am a very different person in 2025 than I was in 2020, or than I was in 1960 when I was 1 year old. I'm a very different person at very different times in my life. And there are times when I look at who I am today and say, I don't even know that person who was before. And the same as, should I continue living for 10 more years, I believe the expansion of who I will be very different than I am today. So it's important to point out to our listeners that it doesn't matter, although there are consequences, like Bunny said, if you're somebody on death row, there are consequences for your choices and your behaviors, but you can always find redemption and grace and love in the universe and in your soul. And you can always change. It may not change the circumstances, because somebody who has been put on death row is there for a reason. But that doesn't mean that you can't find love and you can't find redemption.
Exactly. And what you said, Maggie, it's wonderful. I mean, it's wonderful. You're wonderful, Bunny and Maggie. I mean,
Thank you.
I love to have this conversation with you girls, because you are understanding the depth of things, and I love it. I mean, thank you. But
I think our world that we live in now doesn't understand the depth of love, doesn't understand that love doesn't mean there's not consequences. It's not that if you choose love, you don't have consequence. I believe in consequence.
Yeah.
I believe actions have responsibility that go along with them. But I also believe Creator gives us unconditional love.
Yeah.
Even in those times. And maybe that's what we're talking about today, is unconditional love in the expansion of the universe.
Exactly.
That even like you as a small child who was afraid of seeing that expansion because you didn't understand that love, where now as an adult, you see it very differently.
Yeah, and take responsibility of your actions. Like you said, there's consequences, Bonnie. And also, like you said, Maggie, take responsibility of it. So it doesn't mean that we all excuse what happened when for the bullies. We're not excusing the gesture or the behaving. That's not what we are saying. It's more like there's always an opportunity to change the course of your life and to take responsibility of who you are, black and white. I mean, all of the whole of you, who you are. Take responsibility and have give the time to yourself to heal, okay? Understand, and then take action towards what's the new you wants to go. Okay, where do you want to go? So very important in those times to not stay in this victim and bully place. Oh no, and start to understand that life is happening for you and not to you. I love when people are saying that, and
I was just going through my head.
Yeah, life is happening for you. When you have this in mind and you just understand, do you want to do a little exercise? Like just for fun, like this, okay?
A little exercise.
Exercise. Un exercice, les amis. An exercise, okay?
Yes.
Just if you're up to, okay? You want to close your eyes, you close your eyes. If you don't, you don't, okay? So people and all of the people who are watching right now, just close your eyes and just listen to your right now, what's happening right now. The nothingness. Take a deep breath in. And out. And I just want you right now to accept all of who you are. take a deep breath in and just think while you're doing it. I'm inhaling all that I am inside and all that is, and the love and everything that is good for my healing. And a breath out everything that I don't need right now, everything that is not comfortable for me, and everything that needs to get out, but accept that it's getting out of you. So inhaling what's important to you, love and everything, and out what's not necessary. Accept all that you are right now in this moment. And you can even say out loud or in your head, I am. I am. And I'm just going to make a little tone right here for you. And just listen to the tone. And it's going to harmonize all of the chakras in your body. And the intention of this tone right now is to harmonize and to accept all that you are. So here we go. Inhale. Exhale. You can open your eyes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I'm going to say that when you finished with the tone, the biggest thunder
That happened
just
here too.
yeah, right after. And we live 20 minutes away from each other. Like we live in two different cities. So the fact that it happened in both, thunder over both of us at the exact time. Wow.
Yeah, as soon as you finish that beautiful tone,
Yes.
bam.
Rumble.
It was almost like your tone was the I am, and the thunder was releasing all
yeah.
that I am
I
not.
have such chills. Oh my God. Thank you so much. That was so amazing.
Yes,
Thank
I
you.
say this was the best beginning of the year in April that I have ever had.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Well, you know what's really funny is that, like, according to the Julian calendar, yesterday was New Year's.
Yes.
So this is
So we're not late.
We're not
Right
late.
on time.
Wow, that was so cool. Yeah.
To our listeners, I say thank you for listening and for joining us today. To Nathalie, I say thank you for coming. That was a beautiful ending to this podcast.
Oh yeah.
My heart is full of gratitude. That was beautiful. And did that sound come out of you?
Pardon me?
Did that sound come out of you?
Yes.
Yes, she was singing, like using her voice.
That was beautiful. That was absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us, and we would love to have you on again to talk about some more things, because
rock
this
and
went
woo
off in a direction that we didn't even know. It was definitely rock and woo.
Yeah, this is so cool.
So, Bunny, I'm going to hand it over to you to tell people how to reach us.
Well, first, I want to just ask Nathalie just to repeat how it is that people can find her, and also her email address. We'll also post it, obviously, in the descriptions as well, but go ahead and let them know how they can find you.
Yes. Well, thank you, girls, Bunny and Maggie, for having me.
Yep.
Thank you, everybody that are watching. If you want to reach me, you can find me on Facebook at Nathalie Lavoie on Facebook. So you'll see the little paint here, the little drawing, les grands créateurs. So if you see this, you're gonna recognize that you're at the good place.
Yeah.
And it's the great creator, but it's in French, les grands créateurs. And if you want to join me on YouTube, it's Nathalie Lavoie GC. So that's I don't know how you write YouTube.Nathalie. I don't know.
You could search in YouTube.
Yeah,
you can search. Yeah.
And if you want to write me, to me for the service that I'm offering, you can write me at Nathalie, Nathalie dot Lavoie, Lavoie at gmail.com.
Perfect. Great. And for us, if you want to
I'm sorry,
Gmail. Gmail. Yeah.
Sorry.
And if you want to reach out to us, you can find us on Facebook, on Spotify, on YouTube, at our website at aboveandbeyond.com, and also for email at aboveandbeyond@gmail.com. So if you want to reach out, we can also, if you have a little bit hard time finding Nathalie, you can reach out to us and we will make sure that we connect you to Nathalie as well. That's it for me anyways.
Thank you so much, everybody. Have a fabulous day, and may the thunder bang on you today.
Rock and woo.
Rock and woo.
Rock and woo. Thank you
Perfect.
so much,
Thank you.
Nathalie.
Bye. Thank you.